Hello and welcome back to Squashwarp and Kerbal Space Program. I'm Luke. Today we are continuing our project of recovering from launching the interplanetary spacecraft. We've sent ships to Duna and Eve, and now we are recrewing our space stations at Kerbin and Minmus. And the next project that I'm working on is not so much an interplanetary craft, more of an exploration craft that can go around and sort of grand tour Kerbin, the Moon, and Minmus, take tourists, take crew for experience gaining missions. So I'm working on both of those things. We're going to launch the Sentinel probe soon. So let's get right into it. We are with our all-female crew of Hadrid, Joffrey, and Gilvin, who are going out to Minmus. Let's go. This is our sphere of influence change, and then we'll build a maneuver, and then we'll rendezvous with the laboratory that's in, I almost said Labratat. It's a habitat lab, a Labratat. I like that. We'll rendezvous with the lab that's in orbit, but we sent the lander to Duna, more specifically to Ike. So we need to send up a new lander so that they can do the last couple biomes on Minmus, but we'll get to that. I'm going to do a rendezvous, and I'll see you at the space station. All right, maneuver set up. We're going to fly it now. And we've arrived. Let's turn the lights all on. There we go. And we are here. Let's make sure that the recycler is going. Life support is online. Good. We've recrewed Dryad Space Station. Hadrid. Transfer into the cupola. Joffrey and Gilvin transfer into the laboratory. And then we've already leveled them up. For some reason, Joffrey becomes a level 2 pilot, or a scientist, but the others only get level 1. So I don't know where Joffrey's been that Gilvin and Hadrid haven't been. Maybe Joffrey went to the moon? I don't know. All right. Let's start research again. Research rate is 10 science per day. Let's see if we can put any more data in there. 75 won't quite fit. Keep. That definitely won't fit. Nope. 45 will fit. Cool, now we'll keep the rest. And we're just waiting on a lander. There's a lot of data in here. It's going to take us a while. We're waiting on a lander to arrive from Kerbin to enable us to go back down. There's a couple of biomes on Minmus. Wrong button. There's 2 biomes on Minmus where we haven't been. We haven't been at Minmus's Flats or Minmus's Great Flats. So we will eventually go there, but there's plenty of research to be done for now. So now both of our labs are up and running, as well as the labs on the space stations. I'm having a concern that the Eve mission is ill-supplied with supplies, so I'm going to check on that. Yeah, so the 2 hydroponics gardens do not seem to be supplying enough supplies for 4. I wonder if each one of them can only make enough for 1 Kerbal. That is an issue. It means that we will be out of supplies very soon, and I don't really have a way to send more supplies to Eve. Turns out that we needed more hydroponics for 4 Kerbals. So what's going to happen is when they run out of supplies, they're going to stop working. and then the hydroponics will attempt to fill some of their needs. So they will occasionally start working again. But the Eve mission is in some amount of jeopardy because of this. So I will have to consider what is possible to do to help them. Because there was no way, like, I couldn't find any way to predict how much supplies was going to be produced by these things. Maybe it was somewhere in the... I find it really difficult to read the fine print in the VAB and figure out and do all the math and figure it out. And the graphical display said that we would have years of supplies with this combination. But these started out full and they've run down and they're not getting filled. So we're using 5.54 per second? Is that right? I don't know if that's right, but we're using supplies up pretty quick. Oh, no. Sorry, no, that's just how much we have. We have 5.54. So supplies are being used at a rate that is less than 0, so it's hard to see. And I don't know how fast they're being produced. So I'll go look in the VAB and see if I can figure this out. So looking on the wiki and doing some calculations, it looks like 4 Kerbals will consume 43.2 supplies every day without recyclers. However, we have a recycler. So here's 4 Kerbals. Hang on, let's take one of these away and let's grab the science lab. Science lab. And now, with 4 crew, oh, we have 0 supplies. Hang on a second. We have to put some supplies aboard for it to do this calculation. So with 100 supplies, they'll run out in 4 days. Let's see if that calculation makes any sense. Looks like the lab cuts the use of supplies in half, which I think it actually says. Recycler percent 50. Yeah, and crew affected is 4. So that's pretty straightforward. So they're using 22 point something supplies per day. Now the hydroponics, this is where I made a mistake. This is in supplies per day, and the other ones are in supplies per hour. And I don't know why they're not in the same unit, but whatever. So that's where my math is wrong. This gives out 5.7 supplies per day. So we're getting 11 supplies per day, and we're using 23. So we are not gonna be okay. If we used 4 of these, what would happen? Yeah, the math works out to basically that if you have a recycler, one of these feeds 1 Kerbal continuously. So let's consider a mission. Okay, I've designed something. It's the Questing Night Rescue. It's got 2 more of these thingies here, which we don't need more mulch, but we can put in more supplies and more fertilizer. The thing has almost 4 kilometers per second of delta V. We just got to loft this into orbit, and we can send it off. Let's design a rocket for it. Okay, I just put it on a Paladin launcher, the one that we always reuse. Just checking my staging. It should be able to get out there. They might have to sit around with no supplies or ration their supplies for a little while, but we will be able to help them. It's just a little extension to put on the nose of the spacecraft, and should solve our problems, hopefully. I'm thinking if there's anything else we left behind. I guess we left behind a control room, which we could have included, but I'm not worried about it. All right. Okay, QK Rescue has been moved up to priority 1. And that, I believe, is also the next thing. So we're just going to fast forward 9 days now. Actually, the Moon ISRU is done a little bit before that launch, so I'm going to go fill some tanks and do some tank transfers and land back again. You don't really need to see any of it. Maybe I'll show the landing, but otherwise, you've seen all this before. But I get to do it. It's fun for me. It's a little repetitive, but that's okay. All right, see you later. I did this launch with my mic off again, so we'll go back in time and I can show you that sped up, and then we'll return. Okay, back with our spacecraft here. This is the little rescue module that's going to send a couple extra little greenhouse hydroponics modules, whatever they're called, out to the spacecraft that's going to Eve. So I need to set up a rendezvous, and I'll do the transfer burn out there and hopefully be able to meet up with them before too long, because they are starving. Well, I set up a maneuver that was getting relatively close, and I realized that Questing Knight is going to make a correction burn pretty soon anyway, so if we were being smart, we would wait a day for them to do the correction burn and then head out. But we have so much Delta V on this craft that I think we can head out with the intercept that we have and then do a correction burn to come closer to them after they do theirs. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, we have a close approach of 23,000 kilometers, but we're going to have to fix it anyway so we can make it smaller when we get there. So let's go to that maneuver. Let's find the next thing. So here's our Eve mission, Questing Knight, and we have 2 hours of life support, and it's running down. So we got to do this maneuver, and we got to fast forward to it. So I think we're going to run out of life support before the maneuver. But the good news is the ship is autonomous, so the crew can be tourists, and we're going to be okay. So let's get pointed towards our maneuver node, and then perform the burn. All right, we've performed our correction burn with a few hundred meters per second. We're now passing by Eve with a periaps of 105 kilometers just outside the atmosphere. We will be in an inclined orbit relative to Gilly, which is where we want to go first. But we're just going to have to eat that Delta V because I don't have a good way to change my inclination relative to Gilly. That would be very expensive in terms of, like, we're coming in this way, so I don't have a good time to do that. Which is unfortunate, but we will do our best. Hopefully we'll have enough to get home if we do that. Worst case scenario, like, if we run out of Delta V on this mission, what ends up happening is we have to aerobrake at Kerbin, which could be dangerous, but is also likely to work. And we can even send up an emergency rescue mission if we need to. So the crew now has, it says they have 0 seconds of supplies. However, they're not considered starving. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. Maybe we don't need to send this rescue mission after all. I'm still going to send it. Because we shouldn't be sitting on 0 seconds of supplies. So I'm going to go over to the rescue mission and set up a correction burn so that we actually rendezvous with the spacecraft. I've never rendezvoused on an interplanetary mission before, so this should be interesting. So I can see that we're close to the ascending node, so I'm just going to correct inclination right now. After a lot of annoying poking and prodding because I keep unsetting my target, click-through blocker doesn't work on precise node, I don't know. Or at least, maybe it's not click-through blocker, whatever. When I double-click things, it unsets my target. But anyway, we got a close approach of 2.5 kilometers. The question is, can I actually burn precisely enough to get that? This is going to take a few correction burns, I think. Let's try it out. We're going to get a vessel is going to finish constructing before this is done, but I'm going to stick with this because we need to see this through. Okay, with lots of little poking and by making the nav ball bigger so I could see what I was doing better, we got a close approach of 0.5 kilometers in 37 days. So, let's add a maneuver there just so we can get an alarm. 36 days. So we'll have a few different burns before that. We'll go fly the other mission, but success so far. So we're going to get this out to our poor crew out there. I'm going to fix my nav ball and then we'll go do another launch. All right, we're doing another tourism launch. So we need the following Kerbals: Fresden, Sherian, Jeromone, or Jeramone. Then we need Burloff Kerman, Glados, Nagus, who I assume is a Ferengi, and Carpond. It's come to my attention that we have contracts to launch a relay satellite to Eve and to Gilly, which we never finished because it required a... No, we don't want that. No passengers. We never completed that because it required a greater range than we had expected. Oh, we were so close to our launch window, but we missed it. We'll have to fast forward. Okay, nighttime launch, 50-something degrees south. Here we go. So anyway, I was saying that we could launch some relay satellites with the large relay antenna and send them to Eve and Gilly if the launch window hasn't gotten too far away yet, so I might work on building that next. But meanwhile, we'll just do this launch. It's another tourism mission to the asteroid. We'll skip through it quickly. Alright, we're coming in to grab the asteroid. Pretty routine flight this time. Let's approach a little more slowly so we don't bump the crew too much. Ladies and gentlemen, we are arriving at the target asteroid. Please make sure that your safety belts are buckled, and then we'll be able to look around momentarily. Any second now. And we are here. It's time accelerate to stop the wobble. You have visited the hollow asteroid. Congratulations, everyone. Let's see how long you want to be here, and then we'll go home. Just 15 minutes. All right, everybody's been in space as long as they want to be. We can go home now. Let's skip through that. And we're coming down just 160 kilometers-ish from the Kerbal Space Center. So easy enough to pick up with a boat. Hope all the tourists had fun. Thank you for joining us. Let's go home. And now we have 4 million funds. One thing we can consider doing is upgrading the vehicle assembly building. We haven't had the need of doing that, but since we have the funds ahead, let's do it now so that if we need to, we're not waiting on it. So this will give us unlimited parts in the vehicle assembly building. I guess I've never built anything with more than 255 parts, but we probably will eventually, so let me upgrade that. And then except for the administration building, which doesn't ever need to be fully upgraded if we don't want to, will be fully upgraded. Which I don't know if I've gotten to that point in a career mode before either. Alright, contracts. Tourist to low Kerbin orbit, we will do. Tourist to visit an asteroid, we will do. This is kind of just a money printing machine. It's a little abusable, but people just want to do it, and I will oblige them. But not right away. We also have another Sentinel telescope mission. Don't I already have this? Oh, maybe I started building the spacecraft, but I don't think I actually picked up the contract. Did I? Well, I'll take it anyway. I built some relays that we're going to launch eventually. Let's see if we want to get that done sooner. I think let's try to get that done actually right away. Let's move that up to the top. It'll take us 9 days. Sounds good. Next is the Marrow Eve correction burn. This is the submersible rover, the untested submersible rover that we're trying to send to Eve. Let's do our correction burn, and then we'll launch the Sentinel mission, which is the inspired by the real Sentinel mission that looks for near-Earth asteroids. Okay, there we go. So we've done our correction burn. We have a 63-kilometer periapse, which should either aero capture us or cause us to land. Now, trajectories isn't doing anything, so I wonder if we have to be in the sphere of influence for it to work, or if it only works on Kerbin. No, we've seen it work on Eve, so we must have to be in the sphere of influence. Speaking of which, let's set an alarm for sphere of influence so we don't forget. When's that going to be? 138 days. Okay, let's go launch a space plane. All right, this is the same Owlbear space plane SSTO that I developed for last episode, but the payload is a lot heavier. I tested takeoff, but I didn't test a full launch into orbit, so we will see how well this performs. I'm going to fast forward, but yeah, wish me luck. This is going to be more difficult than the first time. Beautiful sunrise we're flying into. Look at the pink clouds behind us. Looks gorgeous. We did it! We're getting into orbit with only a few hundred meters per second left, but that just means that we dialed in the exact capabilities of this craft. So now I have a reference. If I'm going to build large payloads in the future, I just need to make sure that they don't weigh any more than this payload did, which consists of some fuel tanks for the purpose of refilling the Aboleth drive stage, and the Sentinel probe to go out and study near-Kerbin asteroids and comets. We're going to get into orbit, and then I'm going to deploy the Sentinel probe. Then we'll set up a maneuver to Aboleth, refuel, return to Kerbin with a little more mass in the nose than we're used to, so we'll see how that goes, and launch the Sentinel probe off into its specific orbit between Kerbin and Eve, which is inspired by the real Sentinel probe going to orbit between Venus and Earth. Did we get the orbit we want? Yes, we did. Okay, we'll save. Okay. I meant to remove this shroud, but let's see. Decouple. There we go. Little bump there. Uh-oh. I just noticed something. I wonder if this was the case on the original Owlbear, but these RCS blocks are only on the port side. There are no RCS blocks on the starboard side. That could make docking difficult. But I think we're going to be okay. It just means we've got a little bit of asymmetrical thrust when it comes to the vertical direction. That's the kind of problem that you get in the spaceplane hangar when you don't have symmetry turned on. Okay, switch. Do we need to switch to the other craft? I don't think we need to do it. Oh, we just need to deploy the solar panels, which I didn't set up a hotkey for apparently. Extend and extend. And while we're here, we can extend the antenna and extend the antenna. I see a design flaw here. This is apparently the wrong way. Jettison. Oh no. I wonder if there's a way to fix that, or if this thing is dead in the water. Our decoupler is in the way of the engine. If I point prograde, that's not orbit prograde. There we go. If I point orbit prograde and I throttle up and I engage the engine. Oh, we gotta unlock that. If I engage the engine, we do get a change in thrust. So perhaps the fact that this thing is hollow is enabling us to get thrust, even though it is blocking our engine. So hopefully we get the same delta V that we expect. But we'll come back to that. For now, let's fly the spaceplane. Well, that's a pretty shot. Okay. Maneuver, rendezvous time. Look, we're right over the Space Center. You can see the runway flickering down there. This docking is in fact difficult because of our asymmetrical RCS thrust. Because thrusting up and down is also causing a rotation, so I am having some trouble. The marker is not quite going where I want it to, but we're getting there. Fingers crossed. We did it. All right. We're docking aside. We'll transfer fuel and then we'll look at going home. This will go fast. In. And in. We filled up the main tank, so we can fill up the secondary tanks. A little faster. And we don't have a ton of extra fuel on the space plane, so I won't share it out. Oh, I thought we had more. All right. Given this spacecraft a lot of fuel to work with. That is everything in our payload. Let's save and then let's go home. We don't have anything else to do here. How do I undock? I can't click it. Undock. Back up. Okay. Now I'll plan a return, but I think I need to walk away for a second, so I'll come back. Well, I stepped away, and 4 months passed, and now I'm back. So I have to remember what I was doing. We are returning the Owlbear space plane to the Space Center. So I've saved to make sure that if I do everything wrong, we're going to recover. And I'll try to give us a little check-in as we return. Whoops, we want to be facing retrograde. There we go. And we're trying to go to the Space Center. I don't remember how this plane flies, so it's going to be an experiment. Yeah, so my last recording was in April or May, and I've been slowly putting out the videos for the last 4 months, sometimes with long gaps by accident. I'm trying to get more into a habit of 1 or 2 a week to keep it sustainable. And yeah, so we're halfway through episode 31, if I understand correctly. And I'm gonna aim to do another batch, but it seems to be easiest for me to do a bunch in a batch and then kind of publish them as I go. But we'll see. We'll see. I have lots of things I want to do in this save. So, you know, all the way to... I've got, for example, I've got the Far Future Technologies and the Blue Shift Warp Drive mod. So I want to finish the whole community tech tree. And then I have aspirations to install the Calbaho, the other solar system with the black hole and stuff. Let's call that good. I don't know. We're gonna face Surface Prograde. Yeah, wish me luck with this. We have to press 1 to retract the solar panels. No, we don't. We press 8 to switch the engines into air breathing mode and switch the control surfaces on. Am I out of power? No. There we go. Control surfaces are on. Good. Does 1 not deploy the solar panels? Maybe. Let me check. Hang on a second. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, 8 is supposed to switch the solar panels. There we go. But now I don't have control surfaces. Oh, it's also confused. we'll just retract the solar panels manually. Anyway, so someday I want to install the second solar system with the black hole and the 4 suns and the like 25 more planetary bodies or moons to visit. So I have got long-term plans for this save, as long as it, fingers crossed, keeps working. We've had a few bugs recently. Let's time accelerate until we're descending, and I'm going to try to talk while we descend. Let's quick save and let's get going. So where we're at, we launched a vessel to Eve. We launched a vessel to Duna. Both of them had some design flaws. The Eve mission, the design flaws come from the fact that I didn't understand how the agroponics domes worked. I misread them, or I didn't read them, or something. So we're not producing enough supplies to sustain our respective missions. So the Eve mothership is going to be out of life support soon, out of supplies. And so we have to, we've sent a rescue mission. So that was earlier in this episode, I think. We've sent a module to go intercept that to help them. And I realized that we have the same problem with the Duna habitat. So the mothership is fine, but the habitat that was supposed to be where they live on Duna is not going to work properly. I think I'd better pitch up a little bit, as much as it means we're going to overshoot the Kerbal Space Center. I don't want to be this deep in the atmosphere going this fast. So the habitat for the Duna mission won't work properly, so we might have to cut our time on Duna short, just spend time in the rover, gather our science, and then go back to space. So that's unfortunate, but it is okay. Meanwhile, we're overshooting, but that's also okay. By the way, this thing flies much better than the spaceplane I was flying before, so I'm very much enjoying it. So what we're doing in the meantime is that we're recovering from having launched those interplanetary spacecraft. So I'm, getting all the space trash and the fuel tanks and stuff that have been sitting around recovered and recrewing the space stations. And then we've got a bunch of stuff to do around Kerbin that's going to keep us pretty busy. So I will say that I've been playing Kerbal Space Program since the alpha, but I've only actually finished a career a few times because I tend to stall out. Exactly like I did this time. Like I got kind of mentally burned out just after launching the Duna mission, which is usually as far as I get, which is why I am used to building small craft. I'm used to the early parts of the tech tree, but all of this higher tech stuff is a bit of a learning curve for me. We're well overshooting, but that's okay. We can fly back. Whoa. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. That's why. It's trying to turn surface retrograde. So we're in the territory of gameplay that I've basically never spent much time in. So we've got a variety of things to get done, and a lot of it has to do with learning the mods that I've installed that I've never used because I've never got this far. So we're recrewing our space stations. We've got some tourism missions. Especially, we have a space hotel to build. We have a space camp that we need to send Kerbals on, and that will get us some free Kerbal recruits. And we have to send a new lander out to Minmus because the Minmus lander got sent to Ike. We have a lab in orbit of Minmus and a lab in orbit of Kerbin, which is why I have set the science rewards so low. I've got it at 60% science rewards in the difficulty settings, and then I have the strategy that takes 60% of the science and turns it into funds. So we're getting, 20-something, 25% of the science rewards of the default game, because I absolutely abuse the labs. I like using the labs because it gives the space station something to do. So we've got a lab in orbit of Minmus that is doing Minmus science. Once that finishes, it's going to move to the moon, and we're going to do moon science. We've got a lab in orbit of Kerbin that is also processing the data from Minmus and the moon. And then we got the labs on the interplanetary craft, which are going to be slowly sending us science, and then when they arrive at their destinations, we'll get a lot. And that will slowly be unlocking the tech tree, and in the meantime, I'm going to build the space infrastructure. I'm going to experiment with orbital construction. I'm going to experiment with a test colony on Minmus so I can learn the modular colonization system mod. We're not pitching up very much, are we? We're still going very fast, is why. And what else? The scientists that... I have the blue shift mod, and so in canon, the scientists that have examined the data we got from the tetrahedral alien object in orbit of the moon have postulated the existence of a material called graviolium, and they think that it might be found on some asteroids, but we have yet to verify that it exists. What it is it has like a 45% chance of existing on any given asteroid. So we're going to build an asteroid intercept mission that is going to look for graviolium. I wonder if we've got a mass issue. No, not that. No, I don't think that we're too far forward. You know, was I supposed to bring fuel to the space station? No. Well, if I was, close. Opening the cargo bay certainly killed a lot of our velocity, but I needed to check the fuel tank. So what was I saying? So we're going to build a spacecraft to go and look for graviolium on the moon, on the asteroids. And then I've got, it's kind of an interplanetary craft, but it's only meant to go around Kerbin and Minmus, because one of the big jobs that we need to do is, let's see if we have, nope. Let's switch modes. No, not 8. Good. 9 switches us into air breathing mode. Are these locked? No, they should be, yeah, that's right, they're going. We're just having a hard time turning. Maybe I need to turn up the authority limiter on these? I'm a little nervous about the control situation I have going on. Anyway, let's activate navigation to the Space Center. We're very far away. Yeah, we got a ways to go. But I will fast forward through it for your sake, but I'll finish talking about my, my updates. We're in air breathing mode, right? Yeah, air breathing. I can't even see the... I thought I turned on the marker. Hang on. Am I going the wrong way? Going the wrong way. How did I go the wrong way? It turned in a complete circle without realizing it. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna have to remember how to play this game. Yeah, so graviolium on asteroids, space infrastructure, orbital construction, Minmus science, moon science. Oh, I was saying that one of the main things we have to do is level up our new Kerbals, because we sent all of our high-ranking Kerbals on interplanetary missions. So the Aboleth spacecraft that we've been working on is designed to kind of be a grand tour of the moon and Minmus, so that we can bring both Kerbinauts and tourists on grand tour missions to get money and XP. Alright, I'm going to fast forward through the rest of this flight, and I'll see you back at the Space Center. Okay, I cut out a lot of that, I think. I assume, because I'm just kind of trying to remember how to fly. Like, I mean, I remember the controls, but like I was speeding up and slowing down and going up and going down and got stuff to learn. I think we can turn off the engines now. Let's get the lights on to see our approach a little better. Let's toggle the gear. Whoops, we've overcorrected. And we're gonna glide in. We might not have enough speed, but I think we'll be okay. Yeah, looking pretty good. I like this plane. I'm very proud of this plane. This is my first Mark III space plane that I designed myself. Yeah, slowing down. Brakes on. And a very smooth touchdown, I think. Yep. We're just gonna drop down onto the runway. And we've even got the parachutes pointing the right way. Let's turn off navigation. And right by the spaceplane hangar. Okay, we did it. Alright, so now I gotta go figure out what's next. So, looking at my contracts, I think I may have made a mistake in a past recording. I have a mission in progress right now that is supposed to be a Sentinel mission to scan for near-Kerbin asteroids. But all I have is bring a newly discovered Class A asteroid into an orbit around Corbin. What I think I did is I didn't accept the mission. I waited to accept the mission, and then I built the craft, but the mission expired and I never accepted it. That's, I think, what may have happened. Because it was like build a Sentinel ship and discover some number of asteroids. So the whole mission is a bit doomed, but we'll do it anyway because we spent the money to launch it. So I'm gonna go fly the mission that was what we were supposed to be doing, and we'll see if we get any benefit from it. This was also the spacecraft that had a decoupler attached to it, and now the shroud is gone because we were gone away and reloaded. So it's just a strange mission. I don't even know if we're getting full thrust out of this. So if we really don't, I'm going to check one more time for the contract, but if we really don't have the contract, then I don't even know what orbit I'm supposed to be in. Yeah, I can't find it. So let's just get into an orbit between Kerbin and Eve. I'm going to set up the maneuver, and I'll see you in a second. Set up the maneuver. I don't think either the engine isn't going to work or it just can't calculate it because of the part. So I'm just going to guess how it's going to work. Let's save and let's do our best here. Kerbin is so pretty. Look at the clouds. Looks lovely. All right, let's throttle up. We are in fact reducing the maneuver. It's so screwed up because of the part. But thankfully there's a hole in it, so I think it actually is working. Our pointless Sentinel mission. Well, it'll help us discover more asteroids. But I feel like we already have plenty of asteroids to explore, so I don't know if we really need this, but here it is. So Sentinel is a real mission that looks for near-Earth asteroids, and the Kerbal Space Program did an update to let it be in the game. Okay. Getting close. Okay, we did it. We're off to interplanetary space. So, what did these buttons do? Log observation data? Infrared telescope can't be done right now. Okay. Start object tracking? Needs to be activated in a solar orbit. Okay, they've designed it specifically that way. So let's make an alarm for our sphere of influence change. And that's going to be after our next launch. So we'll we'll just come back to this when it's time. All right, let's see what our next launch is, because I've completely lost track. So we're building what's called the EZ-15G relay. I think this is to fulfill a contract to put a high-powered relay antenna in orbit of Eve. So let's warp to complete, and I'll see you on the pad. Oh my. Yeah, I have a vague memory of building this. Let's see if I remember how to launch rockets. Z, T, and hopefully I designed this well, because I have no idea. Let's go to space. And assuming that this is going to work just fine, I'll fast forward through the launch, because it's kind of fun to watch them go up in 8 times time acceleration. Yep. Okay, we have to revert. It was drifting a little bit, but then I overcorrected. I think the spacecraft is very light and full of air, so I got to be very careful. And I don't think I ever explained my policy on reverts, and now that it's been a while, I'll explain again. For me, it's a separate challenge to fly a space program that has no takebacks, and that can be fun too. But for me, I like the progress, the narrative. I'm kind of half GMing, half playing, and mostly it's just more tedious to actually have to rebuild stuff instead of just reloading and flying it. So someday I'll do, maybe someday I will play with no takebacks, but for me, it would just make me afraid to play unless I felt like I was in an ideal mental state, and I would never play because I'd be so afraid of making mistakes. Same thing with the failures mod. I found that the part failures mod was just tedious. Like, it would ruin launches, and all that meant is you just had to go through the whole process of menus to build things all over again, and that wasn't really fun. Yeah, something is asymmetrical because we're drifting to the left, so I'm having to correct for it, but we're also not... This ascent isn't so good. And that's okay. We'll see if it works. We want to go up to about 90 kilometers, maybe. Okay, call that good. Let's get up into the upper atmosphere. Yep. I'll come back. How do I bring myself back? Oh yeah, there we go. We're at 73. Let's deploy the nose cone. Let's turn off trajectories. And I'll get us into orbit. I gotta say, I don't know where the other engines are. Like, I don't remember this craft. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Looks like maybe we have to escape through the... Okay, let's turn off the thrust. And then make sure that we're looking at the right one. And then throttle up slightly. I don't know how this works. 5, maybe? Deploy? It's been 4 months since I built this thing. I don't know how it works. What is happening? Oh, something has gone wrong. Can I reload a quick save? Did I make a quick save? Hang on a second. No, let's not reload it. Let's just revert. I'll see you in a minute. Okay. Deploy the nose cone. That's always fun. Let's quick save. And let's see if I can make sense of what's in here. Open. Open. Looks like there's multiple spacecraft. Looks like there's 2 spacecraft. Okay. Can I get into orbit with the engine that I have, or am I going to need to switch to one of them? That's an important question. Add a maneuver at Apo and see what it's going to take. Yeah, I'm going to need to use the Delta V from the spacecraft. So let's point at it. Give ourselves a little extra time. Because I guess I need to juggle 2 craft? I feel like I designed this badly. But we'll find out. Okay. I'm going to start the burn a bit early because I'm going to be fiddling around. Okay. Which decoupler is next? That one. Okay, let's switch to this craft. And let's throttle up. Okay, it's coming. It's coming. Point prograde. Deploy the solar panels, maybe? Yep. Let's get into orbit. Because we gotta switch back to the other one. I don't know why there are 2 of them. Okay, and now we deploy the other one. Now this one has to go out further. Where are these locked? Some of those were locked. I don't know. Okay, let's continue to push our way out. This is the stupidest design. Alright. Deploy the solar panels. What was I doing? I'm gonna have to look at my contracts and figure out what contract I'm trying to satisfy. This maneuver is doing nothing for us. Okay, we're in orbit. Okay, save, and then give me a second. You know, maybe one is for Gilly and one is for Moho. Because it says, place a relay satellite in orbit around Gilly with 15G of signal. And then same thing with Moho. Same thing with Sarnis, except it's insane. Yeah, that's probably what it is. So, do we even have a Moho window? Stand by. Oh yeah, Kerbin Moho, 25 days. Okay, so one of these just sits in orbit to go to Moho in 25 days. Which I absolutely need an alarm. So let's add an alarm. Attach to active vessel. And we're going to set it for 25 days. And we're going to call it to Moho. Add. And now we switch to the other one. And we'll do the other one. Actually, I want to see if... Did we put parachutes on this? No, this is space junk. Well, it's not space junk, it's... Oh, wait. No, we did put parachutes. Okay, this was just cargo. A cargo container. I couldn't make a... I think I couldn't make a big enough fairing or something? I have no idea why I did it that way. That is bizarre. Maybe because I couldn't attach things to the antenna. We're going to have a collision, though, if we're not careful. Okay, that was cool. Nice little dance. So let's try to recover this. And I'll see you when we get to the next thing. It was a beautiful sunset as we were coming down. Still beautiful. Whoop! Don't fall over. Recover. Let's go check on our spacecraft. Okay, we're back. Let's relabel this. Command, maybe? Rename vessel. Instead of Easy 15G Relay, we'll call this Gilly Relay. Accept, and I'll plot a maneuver. Okay, we got an approximate maneuver. Let's just run it, and then we'll fine-tune from there. Okay. Well, there's our encounter. Let's fine-tune it. Just burning a little bit this way. Wait until it passes about there. Let's try anti-normal. Is that the way we want to go? Yep. And we want to come in on the dark side so that we're actually going the correct direction. So let's burn prograde again to get going the right way. And let's set Gilly as the target so we can get our ascending node correct. Oh wait, it's only 45 degrees off. Oh, I am going the right direction. Okay, okay. All right. I'm remembering how to do this. Let's keep burning until the descending node is low. And then we gotta burn prograde again to lower the periaps. Prograde. I think the atmosphere is like 100 kilometers, so that seems good, 135. And try to reduce this. We want to get into the same inclination as Gilly to make it easier to get there. Might be better to just put it on the periaps. Let's turn prograde and let's turn this thrust limiter down to make this easier on me. Hang on, remind me Eve's atmosphere. Atmospheric height 90 kilometers, okay. We get most O-berth effect the closer we go, so let's just go like 101, that's great. And anti-normal. Well, no, normal. Put the descending node for Gilly right on the periaps, and then we can combine our burns. And we'll call that good. We still have 1800 meters per second. Let's save. Add an alarm for sphere of influence change. And then point prograde just to get more sunlight. And let's see what the next thing is. Actually, leaving our sphere of influence is the next thing. So let's just go do that. Now our next thing is our sphere of influence change with Eve, which will happen in 126 days. Great. Now what's next? The vehicle assembly building is going to be upgraded. Bum, 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 bum. There it is. Now, I don't think I've ever fully upgraded the vehicle assembly building because I've never really needed to. So we have a fully upgraded space center except for the administration building because I don't care about admin. But we'll upgrade that further once we need to convert all our science into money. All right, what's next? The Quasit Moon Lander 2. Do we have something on the way? Yeah, we have something on the way in the Spaceplane Hangar 2. All right, let's do one more launch, and then I think that will be it for today. First, we have to do the Sphere of Influence change for this thing. Let's just do that real quick. Okay, we're on a solar orbit. Okay, so now we can activate... Let's log observation data. Infrared telescope in space high over the sun. Let's transmit that back. Done. All right, now let's start object tracking. Sentinel infrared telescope is now mapping asteroids and comets passing near Kerbin orbit. All right, and we'll add an alarm for periaps in 180 days. We can correct our orbit. And in the meantime, I guess it's going to help us find asteroids, but I feel like we've got plenty of asteroids already, so we'll see if we need that. Anyway, let's pretend we're getting paid to do this. Back to the Space Center. We launched this before many, many episodes ago, and probably then we had this control issue too. This is going to Minmus. Stand by while I get us pointed the right way. No, not the protective shell. Nope. Stand by. Okay, control is pointing the right way. Anyway, we're gonna go to Minmus. Here we go. Don't ask me what happened there. We veered wildly to the side. I've never seen that before. Anyway, all's well that ends well. Let's finish this and then let's go back to the moon lander. Okay, let's transfer to Minmus. Okay, close enough. We're gonna call that good. I don't know what happened. I thought I pressed X, but apparently I didn't. Close enough. And we're getting sunlight. Okay. Alright, we're on the way to Minmus, but something will be done back home before we get there. So next time we will launch the next space plane that is ready. We will dock this with the orbiting habitat, and we'll send one of our Kerbals down to Minmus so that they can level up. And that will be episode 32, upcoming. I'm excited. I'm very happy to be playing Kerbal again. I'm excited to be back. Thank you so much if you've been watching these episodes, and I hope you're having a great time. All right. See you next time. Bye-bye.